Hello everyone! Today we're gonna be upgrading PlayStation Classic's internal memory. Out of the box it comes with 16 gigs of EMMC storage, and some people may think that it is not enough. Personally, I'm going to do it just because I can and to show that it could be done. Also, I'm going to obtain root access so I can load more games to our newly expanded memory. Beyond that, I plan to keep all original PS Classic software intact, so I won't be talking about Project Ares or Auto-Blim hacks. I think there is enough information on that already. Anyway, if you want to have it, just hack your console before our procedure and all the firmware will be transferred to our new chip. I will be using T48 programmer with EMMC adapter. I also bought 64 gigs EMMC Samsung chip marked as KLMC-G4JD. You can order it from AliExpress, but I just bought EMMC module from hard kernel for single board computers from my local supplier. This module comes with this chip. To see what chips can you put to the PS Classic, just Google Datasheet from the original one and scroll down to see list of available capacities. Let me show you here. So this is datasheet, and as you can see there is a list from 8 to 64 gigs. 64 is the maximum. And the model what I'm talking about is this hard kernel model, and this is the chip that I'm going to unsolder and solder to our console. So I have now disassembled PlayStation Classic off camera. This is our board. It is now heating up on my preheating station. This is the chip that we need to take off. I will be using hot air. Now I'll add some flux. Also, I'll put shield so not to overheat capacitor that is really close to it. Now I'll turn on my hot air station and take it off. First of all, I heat an area around the chip, and only after that I'm gonna heat the chip itself. So here's our chip. All we need is to add some flux. So wick, copper wick, and remove excess solder from the chip itself. Here is our memory. I clean it with alcohol from flux. Now we need to put it in the socket, correct way, of course. Wiggle, close until it clicks. Here's the software. In the software I like to uncheck this So all the data, even the clean one, will be red. And push read. So now it's beginning to dump all the data from the chip. It will take some time, as you can see. So see you when it's done. Here we are at my Linux desktop. After dumping the chip, we have exactly 5 files. 2 boot files, configurations of some sort, project file, and user data. It means the whole disk with all the partitions are stored in this image file. By the way, this file is exactly this size, which is correspond the size in the datasheet. Here. If you have modified firmware on your PlayStation Classic, you can write these images directly on your 64GB chip and connect via terminal to it, and using fdisk resize partitions on the console itself. Because I am using original firmware, I need first to allow root access to the console. For that, I open terminal in this directory, and I have to mount this image of the chip. For that, I use this command, enter my password, and as you can see, this disk image is now mounted as loop 0. Now I need to mount specific partition. This is gonna be this command. Now we mounted partition number 7 on our image disk. This is partition that contains all the Linux root files. Now we go to that location and here we need to go to etc directory and edit file named shadow. This is protected file, so we need to open terminal here again. Let me, and using sudo nano shadow. There, all we need to do is to remove this star sign and save it. Yes, enter. That's it. We close terminal window, we close this, and we unmount this partition, and then we unmount whole disk image. Now we have modified this user data and we need to enlarge it. So in a terminal there is a nice command that enlarges files. It's called truncate. User data bin. So truncate size, and this is size of our new chip. I've got this number from, you know it, from the datasheet to this chip. 62537072 Now we open terminal and you can see this is exactly same number. We press enter and now file is from 16 gigs now become almost 64. Next, we need to move some partitions, but first I'll show you the partition structure first. For that we use fdisk and name of our image print. So as you can see, we have 10 partitions. We need to enlarge partition number 9. This is partition 14 gigs, as you can see. This is the partition where all the games are stored. So we need to move partition number 10 to the end of the disk and enlarge partition number 9. For that, queued from that. For that we use command sfdisk. First of all, this command moves partition number 10 to this amount of sectors to the end of the disk. Enter. Let me move that window. Now, after that we need to resize this with similar command. Let me search it. There we go. So now what we're gonna do, type name of our partition here. This is the number of sectors that we need to enlarge our partition, and partition number 9. Okay, enter. Well, we have now new partition table. As you can see, partition number 9 is now 57.7 gigs, and partition number 10 is in the end, as it was originally. So this is the files along with the one that we have changed. Now it's 58.2 gigs. And that's the program. What we need to do is now to take out the 16 gig chip and put in 64 gigs chip into the programmer. Now open project, load project, choose the chip that we are going to write. So this is the 64 gig one. Press prog. And program the chip. This utility will erase chip and put the new data in. All we have to do is wait. Alright, data write is finally completed. Now we can take out our chip, reball it and put it back into our console. I am going to reball it with 0.3 millimeter solder balls, stencil, It's BGA169, but it will fit perfectly. Flux, and then I will clean the board and solder it on there with hot air again. The chip is now reballed. I will put my best flux on the board and then we will solder it. Well, looks like I forgot to press record. Anyway, I soldered the chip. Now we wait until the board will cool down and test it if it works. If you can see already, I soldered wires to the serial interface so we can access PlayStation Classic through terminal. The board is now cooled down. The easiest way to check if it's still alive and if we were successful is to plug in the USB cable, and these two LEDs should light up. Let me connect it. We wait for a few seconds. Yes, it works. It means the system is initialized. Now we can take this adapter and connect to our serial interface and load some more games. As you can see, the board is now all hooked up. Also, I installed small heatsink because CPU can get quite warm. Also, as you can see, I installed wires to serial interface connected to my CH340 serial converter, so we can access this board with serial interface. For that, we connect power. So serial interface is started. Now I connect power to our console and we can see boot sequence. Here's the welcome message. We type root, press enter, and now we need to type a special command to suppress these messages. Here. This is this command, dmesgn1. This command will suppress all of these messages from the kernel, so we can work on with comfort. As you can see, console is booted now. It complains there is no controller, but it actually booted. We can check free space with command df, and as you can see, this is our game folder GA-data, and it displays wrong free space. It cannot even calculate how much free space is left. This is because we resized partition, but we couldn't resize file system itself, because file system on this console is encrypted, and it will decrypt itself only when console is booted. Anyway, now when this file system is decrypted, we can check it for errors and resize to proper size. For that we use this command, No. Before that, we have to unmount it. We type command umount data. Press enter. Now we enter disk free. As you can see, now this folder is not mounted. Also, sometimes when you write EMMC chip, this folder may not be mounted at all. This is actually 50-50 chance that it will get mounted. Because of the errors, it may error out and boot like this. Anyway, now we enter command to check this file system, data. Press enter. Now this command to resize file system. As you can see, it is now resizing it, and it's completed. Okay, then we type restart or shut down the console. It will begin to boot again. Now, as we see the welcome message, we type root, press enter, press command dmesg n1, enter, check the free space, and now we see that we have only 23% used on our GA data folder. It means that 20 games that have come with the console only use 23% now, and we can add more games. I already put memory flash drive with some games that I like to add to my game library. So we type mount dev sda1 and we mount it to MNT. Enter. So we have already 20 games, and I like to add game 21 and 22. How to format games for PlayStation Classic, you can find this information on the internet. I just gonna copy it. Command cp verbose and recursive all to directory GA data and enter. Now games has been copied. We unmount our flash drive, mount MNT, enter. Now we shut down console, cycle power, and as it begins to boot, we look at our screen. Also, I took out flash drive and put controller at the first port. We turn it on. Let me adjust the camera. Here. Now we select language, press OK, see that message. Well, as you can see, we have all 20 games that have come with the console. in our internal memory, and also in our internal memory there is two more games, Crash Bash and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which we can play now. And as you can see, it runs, no problems. So there is a way that we modified our console. Now we can store all of our games in internal 64 gigs of memory. We don't need any custom software. The software is almost intact. So, as you can see, it works. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Also, I will leave the links that I have used during shooting this video. Thank you and goodbye.